II was perhaps the greatest conflict of the 20th century.
During World War II, there were many significant battles, but perhaps the most significant was the D-Day invasion of mainland Europe.
This invasion was the beginning of the end for Hitler's war machine. This conflict, as costly as it was, ultimately brought the Germans to the negotiation table and compromise. D-Day took place on June 6, 1944. D-Day was the most colossal invasion in American history.
Dwight Eisenhower was the general of this invasion. D-Day was named Operation Overlord officially. However, most people call it D-Day. Operation Overlord was almost delayed because of bad weather. 4 countries have risked men in this event: Canada, Britain, France, and America.
D-Day started by an invasion of the Normandy mainland, in which Allied troops made the quote-unquote run of death up the Normandy beach, dodging German machine gun fire, and methodically destroyed the German fortifications to allow for more soldiers to reinforce the decimated survivors' ranks. Allied forces suffered very heavily in D-Day. In the first 24 hours of the invasion, Allied forces suffered 3,500 dead and missing men, and close to 7,000 wounded. By the beginning of July, 1 month after the invasion, there were 250,000 German casualties, along with 61,000 Allied casualties. The main point of attack was the beaches of Normandy, codenamed Utah, Omaha, Juno, Gold, and Sword. These beaches were heavily fortified with mines and scrap metal in the tidal flats, with machine guns and pillboxes constructed on the sand bluffs overlooking the beach. In support of the infantry who landed by sea, gliders were launched by planes to deliver troops and material to the Normandy countryside. Unfortunately, these gliders were poorly constructed and loaded, and many crashed before their destination. They were commonly known as flying coffins. American and British paratroopers rained from the sky to begin the process of recapturing French coastal cities. There were high losses due to anti-aircraft fire, downed planes, missed landing zones, and faulty parachutes. Project Overlord was designed to create a second front against German forces. They were busy with the Russians on the Eastern Front and were fighting Allied forces in Africa and were stretched thin. Less than a week after the invasion, on June 11th, the beaches were fully secured and over 326,000 troops, more than 50,000 vehicles, and some 100,000 tons of equipment had landed at Normandy. By a week after the invasion, the Allies had captured a number of small towns, including the city of Carentan. By the end of June, the Allies had seized the vital port of Cherbourg, landed approximately 850,000 men and 150,000 vehicles in Normandy, and were poised to continue their march across France. In the 3 months after D-Day, the Allies launched a series of additional offensives to try and advance further inland. These operations varied in success, and the Allies faced strong and determined German resistance. By the end of August 1944, the Allies had reached the Seine River, Paris was liberated, and the Germans had been removed from northwestern France, effectively concluding the Battle of Normandy. This fits in with conflict and compromise because it was a conflict that compromised the German ranks, causing the Allies to win the war on the European front. The long-term impact was that it put more pressure on the Japanese, eventually causing the end of the war.